Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Blitz chess postmortem video. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 171. I was black here and my opponent played d4. So I went into the Slav defense. d4, d5, c4, c6, and then my opponent played knight to c3. The second most popular choice. Most popular by far is, well, not by far. I mean, they're both played moves. Knight f3 is about twice as popular as knight c3, and it also has the advantage that it prevents the Winawer gambit, which I like to play when I get the chance. So I play e5, and the idea is that if white takes, I can push ahead with this pawn, forcing the knight to move, and then a queen check here will pick up the pawn. So leads to some interesting positions. My opponent just declines the gambit with e3, which is okay. And now I can either push ahead with e4 or I can take. So I decided to take here. And he can take back with the queen as well as the pawn. But probably taking back with the pawn is best, keeping that central influence. And I just develop. And now he doesn't have to take on d5. It maybe is a little bit premature. You might not just leave the tension in the center for a bit and develop your pieces, but he took. And I took with the knight. I could have taken with the pawn and got just an equal position, but it's a little more dynamic to have this slightly unbalanced structure. If he takes the knight, I'll take with the queen and just try and maintain that asymmetry there. So we're pretty much out of the opening book. He could have played bishop d3 there, but instead he played knight f3. And I'm going to leave the chess engine off. I'll give some commentary as we go along, and then there's some tactical quiz opportunities here. So there's one really interesting one. So stay tuned. Okay, bishop b4, pinning, bishop d2, just unblocking the pin, unpinning the knight and defending it. Castle, bishop e2, rook e8, just getting a rook on the e file, seeing if I can get some pressure. But white just castles. And pretty much everything is fine here. And after bishop c4, there's still a slight edge to white from the opening, although the engine did not like this bishop c4 move. And so right now, this is not a tactical quiz. I guess this is kind of a positional nuance that the chess engine pointed out. I played knight takes c3 here, and what the engine recommends is bishop takes c3. So if you look at this, white can retake either way. He can take with the pawn or the bishop. Let's say he takes with the bishop. And then it says just ignore things and just continue developing. And it's pretty interesting. White can take here, but then he's got a bad bishop, and I have a good bishop in a situation where this pawn structure is very fixed in the center. So that gives an advantage to black. So that would be a mistake. And if he doesn't take, then I have this good knight here, and he's got a bishop of the same color as these pawns, and so this is not a particularly good piece. So this leaves black with better pieces than white, so that's probably the best way to play here. Didn't think of that. I played knight takes c3, the more typical kind of move, but not the best in this case. And then white's best reply would be to take with the pawn and keep the bishops on, but he decided to take this way. I take, and I'm just trying to create a weakness in his pawn structure that I can attack later on. So that was the purpose of that exchange. But still, this is a position where white has the same kind of typical opening advantage. So the game goes on, knight d7, queen b3, and this is a double attack, but it's not overly strong. I guess the engine is not impressed. It recommends just playing rook e7 here. And so the idea is that if the queen takes the pawn, you can play knight to e5, attacking the bishop and attacking the queen. So the queen has to go somewhere that defends the bishop. And then you can take, maybe actually, my opponent probably would have played back here to get on the battery again. And then you can take here and mess up his pawns. And the engine thinks black is actually slightly better here. Although a pawn down, white's king position is weaker and his pawn structure is worse. So these isolated pawns are not so easy to attack because the files are blocked. Whereas Well, I guess the same thing is true over here, but these doubled pawns are going to become targets eventually. Anyway, that would have been the most accurate way for black to play after queen b3, which was a good move. I played bishop g6, and now white has a pretty significant edge. He goes ahead and grabs the pawn, and I play c5 here, just trying to bust up white's pawn structure a bit. But he didn't take, which I was expecting. He played this move rook a to d1, putting some pressure this way. So I just get my knight out of the way. I figure he was going to take, and then I could play queen a5, hitting both of those pawns. So I'd get my pawn back. And that's what happened, actually. He took, attacks my queen. I played queen a5, and then he went queen b3. So this is the moment here that I was talking about. There's a tactic here that I totally missed during the game. It's just here for this one opportunity. So it's a weakness of the last move. That queen b3 was just a mistake. And so that's your quiz. What should black play here? Okay, pause the video. This is one you ought to be able to figure out. Pause the video if you haven't figured it out yet. I'm going to give the answer away now. The answer is you take a rook, either one, and place it on the b file. And you ask that queen, where is it going? And look at this. The queen doesn't have a lot of squares to go to. First of all the squares on this file are taken. And it can't go here or here, right? These squares are covered by my queen. And it can't go here because that square is covered by my bishop. So that queen is completely trapped. So it's funny, I did not even think of that queen trap. The engine recommends doing a sacrifice like this, and then that buys a square for the queen to come out. But, you know, obviously that's white is just a piece down there. So I completely missed that during the game. Now I followed through. I had played queen a5 in order to get one of my pawns back. He played queen b3, and I didn't pause to look around. That's what they tell you, actually. Each move, really, you should look at all the threats in your position. And so rook b8 there is an obvious threat to threaten the queen. And then if you look a little deeper, you see, oh, it's more than just a threat. The queen actually has no square. So, but I didn't do that. I just followed through with what I was playing, queen c5. So he played queen b5, trying to trade queens. And we do a little dance for a while where I'm trying to get my pieces out and attack things, and he's trying to trade queens, and I'm avoiding the trade. And then finally I get a free move, and I throw in this knight e4, trying to stir up some trouble. But this actually was a bit of a mistake. The knight's a bit weak out here, and I have a weak back rank, so it's a little bit risky for me to be doing this. And you'll see later where I get into trouble. So probably before doing this, I should have prepared for it by playing a move like h3, so that I'm not getting mated on the back rank. Okay, but it's not immediately deadly. It's just a little bit dangerous, and white is a pawn up. So queen over. I was thinking, well, maybe I can get some counter pressure on f2, similar to what my opponent had on f7. And he went after my knight, and I took on f2. And this is an interesting tactic that worked out in the game, but does not work in reality with the best play from white. So this is your second tactical quiz here. So the idea of the tactic is bishop takes, bishop, knight takes, rook. And or if king takes knight, then bishop takes bishop. So either way, I've just won a pawn, and a couple of pieces get traded off. So that was the idea of knight takes f2, and it works except for one reply from white. So this is your second tactical quiz here. This is pretty cool. How can white defend, and not only defend, but actually turn the tables and have an advantage? Okay, I'm going to give it away. At least I'll give away the first move. Let's see if you guess the second move. I got the first move. I was even thinking about this. I thought, well, rook takes here is a possibility, because that's with check, and it forces me to take back. But I thought, well, now if he takes the bishop, I'm still threatening the rook, right? So this is if you didn't see the tactic already, here's another opportunity to pause and say, what can white play here to cause trouble for black and get an advantage? Okay, I'm going to give the answer away now. The answer is he can bring the other rook to the e-file. Now, first of all, it's protected there by the queen. So if I take, queen takes, and now he's threatening checkmate on the back rank. That's what I was saying earlier about the weakness of my position. So I've got a weak back rank here. So I have no time to save my knight. I can't even bring it here where it blocks the queen because he can just take it. So I'm losing at least a piece because I have to take time out to save my king, and he can grab the knight. And then it's all over. So, for example, if I play here, then queen takes knight, defends the bishop. So that's the key point. But in the lines I was thinking about, rook takes knight didn't defend the bishop, and I could always answer something takes knight with bishop takes bishop and come out even, but not in this line. So so white would just be a piece up here. So if we go back to the game after knight takes f2, yeah, the idea is to trade one pair of rooks, force my rook to the e-file, and then bring his rook over here. Another way to play this, which would be okay for white, would be simply to move the rook away and defend the bishop. And then I would have to move my knight. But that leaves me with a pawn up at least. I mean, well, having won a pawn back, white was a pawn up before, so now the material would be even. So definitely the way to play it is rook takes rook followed by rook to e1. So pretty interesting tactic. So my opponent didn't see that, and it's a little hard to spot, I have to admit. So he played bishop takes, and I played knight takes rook. And now he can pick up a pawn, but he's basically, he can either retreat the bishop, in which case I can save my knight, or he can take my knight and I get his bishop. So he decided to give up his bishop for a pawn and maybe make my king position slightly worse. Probably a good choice, and then rook takes d1. But I have a winning advantage here, and I don't let it go this time. So he starts out with, oh no, I start out with rook takes c4, getting my rook off the back rank and threatening his queen, but I'm making sure to hold on to the back rank with these other pieces. The queen went to b5, hitting my rook, which is still defended. I go rook to c7. It was also threatening to bring his rook to this 7th rank, so I wanted to stop that. He plays knight e5, attacking my queen, and I can't take the rook because of, I can't take the knight because of the rook here, once again causing trouble along my back rank. When I bring the rook back, he's got his queen on that square, so this is not good. Checkmate. So that's the kind of thing you have to watch out for. So I couldn't take the knight. I saw that. Fortunately, I played queen e7. And so he went queen b3 check. And I went king in the corner. He has a knight here check, but I have 2 pieces on it, so I can take it. And then rook e1. So pretty creative play, trying to cause trouble. But I have the move queen c5. And that puts out all the rest of the trouble because it puts his king in a position where he's suffering from a weak back rank as well. So now I can just grab the knight, and our mutual threats cancel out to my advantage. So he plays queen b8 check, which is pretty interesting. It forces me to block, and then he can grab the knight. In fact, he was grab the rook. He was intending to play that, but he ran out of time here. But this doesn't work because I can just take the queen, and the game would finish like this: check, king here, checkmate. If we played it all the way out to checkmate, which he would probably have resigned as soon as I took the queen there. But interesting game. You can see we were both suffering from this back rank problem, so something you always have to be worried about in your own games. So anyway, if you have any comments, leave them in the section below, and I will see you again later. Bye.